As the mist rolls gently across the emerald hills, we leave the known world behind and enter the sacred realm of the ancient Celts. This was a world where the wind whispered wisdom, the moon marked the rhythm of life, and every stone and stream held a spirit. In these quiet landscapes, peace was not something sought, but something lived. Through rituals rooted in the turning seasons, ancestral memory, and the breath of the earth itself. Let us walk softly into their world, where silence held meaning and every moment of nature's cycle carried the promise of harmony, the tranquil rituals of the ancient Celts. As the night deepens and the world outside is quiet, we now journey into the lush, misty landscapes of ancient Celtic culture, a world filled with deep spirituality, connection to nature, and peaceful rituals. From the wind-swept highlands of Scotland to the serene woodlands of Ireland, the Celts developed a rich tradition of harmony with the land, the seasons, and the spiritual realm. Their rituals, filled with reverence for the cycles of nature and the sacred, offer timeless lessons in finding peace, balance, and inner calm in our modern lives. The Celts believed in the sacredness of the natural world, and their spiritual practices reflected a deep connection to the earth, the elements, and the cycles of the moon and sun. Nature was not simply a backdrop to human life, but a living, breathing entity imbued with spiritual power. The ancient Celts saw the world through the lens of cycles, the changing seasons, the phases of the moon, and the rhythms of the earth itself. For them, peace was found in understanding these cycles and aligning one's life with the natural flow of the world around them. At the heart of Celtic spirituality was the reverence for the divine in all things. The Celts did not worship a single god, but rather a multitude of deities, each associated with different aspects of nature: goddesses of the land, gods of the sky, and spirits of the rivers and forests. These deities were not distant, abstract figures, but present forces that inhabited the world and the natural elements. The rituals associated with these deities were peaceful meditative practices aimed at nurturing harmony between humans and the natural world. These rituals were not about appeasing wrathful gods, but about honoring the sacredness of life and maintaining balance with the earth. One of the most significant Celtic rituals was the celebration of the Sabbats, which marked the changing of the seasons and the cycles of the year. The four major Sabbats, Imbolc, Beltane, Lammas, and Samhain, were times of deep reflection and celebration. These festivals were tied to the agricultural cycle, celebrating planting, harvest, and the turning of the seasons. Each Sabbat was marked by specific rituals that honored the earth's bounty and the divine forces that guided the natural world. Imbolc, celebrated at the beginning of February, marked the first stirrings of spring and was dedicated to the goddess Brigid, associated with fertility, healing, and the fire of inspiration. This festival, which often involved lighting candles and fires, was a ritual of purification, renewal, and hope, signaling the return of light after the long winter months. For the Celts, peace was found in the cycles of nature, and Imbolc represented a time of inner renewal as the land itself began to awaken from its slumber. Beltane, celebrated on the 1st of May, was a festival of fertility and abundance dedicated to the god Belenus and the goddess Belisama. This was a joyful celebration of life and growth, marked by the lighting of bonfires, dancing, and singing. The bonfires symbolized the strength of the sun and the life-giving force of fire. The Celts believed that by dancing around the fires, they could purify themselves and their communities and invite the blessings of the gods into their lives. Beltane was a time to celebrate the fullness of life, to honor the natural world, and to reconnect with the deep, peaceful rhythms of the earth. Lammas, celebrated in early August, marked the height of the harvest season. This was a time of thanksgiving for the bounty of the earth and an opportunity to reflect on the cycles of life, death, and rebirth.
Rituals of gratitude and offerings to the earth were central to Lammas, and the Celts would often make offerings of bread, fruit, and grain to honor the gods and the land. Lammas represented a time of balance, as the harvest season was both a time of abundance and a reminder that life is always in flux, constantly moving from one cycle to the next. The Samhain, celebrated at the end of October and the beginning of November, was the most sacred of the Sabbats. It marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, a time when the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead was said to be the thinnest. The Celts believed that during Samhain, the spirits of ancestors could return to the earthly realm, offering wisdom, guidance, and blessings. This festival was a time for honoring the dead, reflecting on the passage of time, and preparing for the coming darkness of winter. The rituals of Samhain, which included feasts, prayers, and offerings, were designed to bring peace and protection to the living, ensuring that they would be shielded from the hardships of the coming cold months. In addition to these seasonal festivals, the Celts practiced daily rituals that were designed to maintain peace and balance in their lives. These included offerings to the gods, prayers for health and protection, and the practice of silence and meditation. The Celts believed that silence was a sacred practice, one that allowed them to listen to the wisdom of the natural world and to connect with the divine. The practice of quiet contemplation and reflection was seen as essential for maintaining peace within oneself and with the world. The peaceful nature of Celtic spirituality is also reflected in their reverence for the sacred sites they created: stone circles, sacred groves, and wells. These sites were seen as portals to the divine, where the human and spiritual realms could meet. The most famous of these sites is Stonehenge, although there were many others scattered throughout the Celtic lands. These sacred places were not simply built for worship, but were places of peaceful communion with the natural world and the divine forces that governed it. They were places of calm, reflection, and connection, where individuals could go to seek guidance, healing, and peace. The rituals of the Celts offer us profound lessons in how to live in harmony with nature and how to cultivate peace in our own lives. The cyclical nature of the Sabbats, the reverence for the natural world, and the practice of quiet reflection remind us that true peace is found when we align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe. By slowing down, honoring the cycles of life, and connecting with the sacred, we too can find the deep, lasting peace that the Celts so deeply revered.
The rituals of the Celts were not loud declarations, but gentle invitations to listen, to feel, to align with something older than time. In their reverence for the land and the sacred cycles, we are reminded that peace does not come from escape, but from presence. As the fire of Samhain fades and the seeds of Imbolc begin to stir, may their ancient wisdom linger with you tonight, like the warmth of a hearth in winter. In the stillness of the dark, may you find your place among the stars, the stones, and the soft turning of the earth.